What do you feel when you see these animals locked up in cages? Sadness? That's normal. I mean, look at them. They're cute and sweet and lovable. Now, what do you feel when seeing these cow farms pass by? Do you stop and look? Do you know that their next stop is death? Why do the cuter animals get the better treatment and the remorse? These cows, chickens, and even pigs don't have anyone standing up for them. That's why we are here. We are taught from a young age that eating is a social norm, but we don't have to follow that. We can get educated about the subject and change that norm for the betterment of these animals and our lives. These kids, like us when we were younger, continue to eat meat because that's what they grew up on, with the thought that meat makes us big and strong. But what if that's not true? What if our whole life has been full of deception because of the influence from the media and the secrets held by the top 1% of our society? How did we as a human species get here?
Animals. You have your cute, fluffy animals, cats, dogs, rabbits, anything as a pet. Then we have the animals that no one really thinks about. Cows, chickens, anything that ends up in our belly. Then we have the animals in no man's land. Basically anything you can find in the Saharan desert. These animals are categorized based on our emotions towards them. But all these animals have one thing in common with us. This one thing in common branches out into a million. That one thing is that they're living. They live like us, they eat like us, they breathe like us, they love like us. But why don't we treat them the way we treat each other? Why doesn't the phrase, treat others the way you want to be treated, include all living things of all sorts, and in this case, animals? What does it take? Does it take weather change, rising sea levels, and the worst environmental epidemic we've seen in centuries? Because if it does, we've got it. It's here. This is our life, this is our future, and we need to start making a change to see a change. So, in our English class, we were given the opportunity to do a documentary, and so me and my group, Leon, Catherine, Simran, and Emily, and I, we decided to do vegetarianism and how social norms affect how we might have viewed meat as a child, and how basically vegetarianism or the animal agriculture is affecting our world. You know, the environmental epidemic we're facing right now. And I think what you guys are about to view in this documentary is going to be really eye-opening. To get an idea of what people think about the topic, we went around and asked people. We asked two groups, vegetarians and non-vegetarians. We asked them the same types of questions, so with their answers we can compare and contrast their ideology from their diets. So we're just going to record you for a documentary. What's your name?
I'm Sabrina Asafi.
Izzy B. Denny.
Nudal.
And are you vegetarian?
Currently no, but I actually did try to be a vegetarian about a month ago, and basically it didn't really work out for me.
No, I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat.
Well, were you ever vegetarian or
You know, I've always been enamored by vegetarianism, and I tried it. I even tried to be vegan for about 6 months. I just found them so carb intensive. You gotta eat, vegetarians eat a lot of carb, they eat, a lot of rice and a lot of bread, and that's something I was trying to, get away from. The community is concerned about is the lack of iron in the food. So if you're a vegan, you just need to be very, very smart about what your choices in food.
Being a vegetarian comes with a huge misconception associated with how vegetarians don't get the same amount of protein, vitamins, and nutrients that meat eaters receive. However, vegetarians often have a wide variety of food that contains either enough or more protein and nutrients that non-vegetarians intake. For example, if Simran consumes 1 gram of beef, she consumes 9.03 calories as well per gram of protein. If Naya consumes 1 gram of mushrooms, she intakes a less amount of calories, 7.2 calories, with the same amount of protein. This shows that whether it be from an animal or a plant, overall the same amount of protein is taken in and less calories are absorbed from eating a vegetarian food. Foods such as hamburgers, sausage, steak, etc. are commonly consumed by non-vegetarians. However, in our current world, products have been made in a vegetarian way for people who don't consume meat, as these products include veggie burgers, tofu patties, and tofurkey, which is a soy-based vegetable that mimics the effect of meat, such as turkey. We have come a far way in terms of providing options for vegetarians, and in the future there will be a wider range of possibilities and options for vegetarians to choose from.
Chicken is a commodity, okay? And again, once a product becomes a commodity, producers try to cut corners. Chicken is the most modified, animal on earth in terms of making it production worthy, because chicken is what feeds all these billions and billions of people.
Why aren't you vegetarian?
Because my family eats like a lot of meat, and it wouldn't be practical for me to like eat different than they do.
What do you think is the leading cause of global warming?
It's like carbon emissions.
Yes.
Different things like
that need to
cars
end.
and factories and things like that.
As you can see, animal agriculture makes up 51% of all greenhouse gas emissions versus 13% from all of transportation. That's a big increase. Animal agriculture also causes rainforest destruction and increases in carbon monoxide emissions. That's really bad. In our atmosphere, there are many greenhouse gases that affect us. One of these gases include methane, which has an enormous impact on our environment. Although levels of methane in the environment are relatively low, its high global warming potential, which is 21 times that of carbon dioxide, ranks it amongst the worst of greenhouse gases. One cow releases 250 to 500 liters of methane per day. Imagine 1.9 billion cows. That's 98 to 198.1 billion liters of methane released globally per day. Due to cows being overfed, the release of methane is increased and goes into our atmosphere at much higher rates than we can keep up with. If we want to change, it starts with animal agriculture.
Beef is the biggest polluter on earth. Raising beef is very polluting. They produce a lot of lakes and lakes of manure that nobody knows what to do with.
Well, with our political leaders today, do you think they have kind of an influence on what, like the people of our country at least, like how they believe in or how they perceive global warming and if they believe in it or not?
Well, actually, that's a great question because especially with President Trump right now, who doesn't really believe in global warming, it kind of takes a toll on a lot of the people, and because of that, he's kind of changing all these rules and regulations about global warming. I think that anything that our leader now says obviously is gonna affect the beliefs of whoever voted for him because they agree with him.
People that like Trump, they just believe anything that he says and they will defend it. Okay, so but the whole concept of the Republicans not admitting to the global warming issue is more of a liability.
No wonder Americans across the nation see climate change as a hoax. Our Senate and House of Representatives brainwashed the citizens of America into thinking that climate change and global warming are not actually happening. In the Senate, 53 out of the 100 delegates deny the fact that global warming is occurring as of right now. Likewise, in the House of Representatives, 232 out of the 435 delegates are denying global warming, which is about 53% as well. With our leaders denying that climate change is occurring, the people of America cannot help but believe the same. Moreover, these deniers of climate change in the Senate coincidentally own huge oil-polluting companies. What would happen to their companies if they actually stated that climate change is occurring? This superficial thinking leads our country to propose that there is no use for changing our diets since no harm is coming from eating meat. Our country has to stand up and not let powerful and brainwashing leaders tell us what they want to hear. Climate change is happening.
America is the #1 polluter.
Do you think that the animal and meat industry and the dairy industry, they take up a lot of land that and resources that we could just use?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a question for you, but what would you guys use these resources for?
It's probably one of the leading causes of our water.
You know, the cow eats a lot of grains to make that 1 pound of meat. They have to chow down 8 to 10 pounds of vegetables, just to make that meat.
What do you think we could do to reverse global warming?
Just global warming, but I don't know, don't cut down trees.
I think that we can't really undo what we've done, but I think we can definitely stop making it worse.
In America, the grain is excess grain. Okay, people don't eat as much corn here as they do, anywhere else. So that corn, most of it right now is going into, beef and pork and chicken and all kind of protein. I don't see people really stopping or quitting eating meat.
What's your name?
Bridget?
How are you vegetarian?
Yes.
How long have you been vegetarian?
I've been vegetarian for about 10 years.
Aiden Olivia.
Are you vegetarian?
Yes. I've been vegetarian for almost 2 years.
I'm Naya.
I'm Emily. Are you guys vegetarian?
Yes. I've been vegetarian for a little bit over a year.
I've been vegetarian for a little over 4 years.
I went straight from eating meat every single night to veganism for a good year, and then I had some problems with lack of protein, so I had to switch to vegetarianism just because I'm not a huge fan of nuts.
My sister decided she wanted to become a vegetarian, and I was little and impressionable, so I was like, oh man, I want to be a vegetarian too. And then my sister isn't a vegetarian anymore, but I kind of just stuck with it.
My 9th grade biology class, we had to dissect a pig, and I just felt super uncomfortable with it, and I just turned vegetarian.
I became vegetarian because I saw a video of what happens in a slaughterhouse.
Is the leading cause of global warming?
Well, I think there are a lot of different causes of global warming, but I definitely think that agriculture plays a part.
I'm not that educated about causes of global warming, but I do know that one major factor is meat production.
I'm kind of educated on the topic, so I know that the leading cause is animal agriculture and the animal industry in general.
Yeah, me too. And it's the water intake that is the effect of animal.
And the land use and the grain use and all that.
Consumes a lot of water each year, both with plants and animals. There's also a lot of pesticides used in agricultural farming, which contribute to environmental damage.
The animal agriculture industry is taking over the water that we need. This water is used for growing crops for animals to eat, cleaning dirty farms, and for giving animals drinking water. Moreover, one cow that is used for producing milk can drink up to 50 gallons of water per day, and on a hot day, the cow can drink up to double that amount. 780 million people across the world do not have access to clean drinking water, yet animals, such as cows, have more than enough to drink every day. Also, the water given to many developing countries end up being filthy and ultimately causes many diseases to spread due to most of the water being given to the animal agriculture industry. While 1 pound of tofu requires 244 gallons of water, 1 gallon of milk requires 683 gallons of water. By becoming a vegetarian, a person can save 219,000 gallons of water each year.
As a vegetarian, do you feel like you get the nutrition you need to to sustain?
I actually feel so much healthier when I'm vegetarian and even healthier when I'm vegan.
It's possible, but I think with my eating habits, I don't, because I should be eating more things with proteins, but I usually don't. But it's definitely possible to if you have the right diet.
We've given you the vegetarian stories and the non-vegetarian stories. They stated their facts, they stated their opinions. Now, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go back to eat the meat? Or are you gonna make a change for the vegetarian style? I mean, at this point, we're not trying to say that you guys suck, but the fact that this planet matters, and we're going downhill, and if the biggest polluter is animal agriculture, then the biggest change is to give up meat. You guys decide what we do. We've given you the facts and we've given you the information. But what are you guys gonna do? Are you guys gonna let our leaders dictate what you think and what your opinion is going to be about this epidemic? Or are you gonna live your own life? Are you gonna live your own change? It's your choice. This is our life. This is our future. You decide.
I grew up with barbecues and petting zoos and SeaWorld and pet stores and hot dogs and a mind void of all the things wrong in the world. I grew up loving animals and wanting to become a veterinarian when I was older if being the president didn't work out. I grew up eating hamburgers to get strong. I grew up learning that a hamburger was made from a cow when I was 9 years old. I grew up realizing that the cow did not die naturally when I was 12 years old. I grew up realizing humans were not beautiful and kind when I was 13 years old. I grew up going vegetarian when I was 13 years old, the day after I realized humans were not beautiful and kind, the day after I saw a security camera footage of a slaughterhouse. I understand meat tastes good, I understand meat provides protein, and I understand that meat is easy to buy, and I understand we are all only human.
We are the kings of all living things on this earth because we have been graced with the most space in our brain to carry information. Us humans will not let this fact ever lose relevancy. Why then must we go killing things to get food when humans, in all of our smartness, have found plenty of other ways to charge our bodies? Why then must we hide this murder when everyone knows deep inside how the hamburger they are about to eat was made? Because it's the easiest thing to do. That's the only answer that makes sense to explain our actions. It is not the right thing to do, and that alone should make the whole world go vegetarian. We have walked on the moon, we have sailed on every ocean in the world, we have discovered islands so small they are to be left forever uninhabited. How is this okay for us, the kings of the earth, to be doing? We are too animals, remember. We all feel and love and hurt and play and laugh and smile and shame. Some of us just don't get the chance.